really a wonderful event, and I'm not sure why I'm just the one person here talking. In fact, I just want to thank actually the amazing support to actually see so many people across the board here. And to reiterate what Brad had just said, I think there's an overwhelming support for truth and understanding. As a biogeochemist and as a scientist, I mean, that's ultimately what I and my team and the students I work with are really most interested in. What we measure, what we look at, how we understand the environment around us has nothing to do with politics. Nothing at all. However, we need to talk and we need to discuss, beg to differ. It doesn't have a political realm in a sense, I guess is what I'm saying. And because it's just basically trying to get at the truth. And I think a lot of times that's something that hampers where we head and the things that we're interested in doing. And at the same time, the idea of being able to speak and to communicate and to come together, as Brad had really eloquently stated, is more and more necessary at this point. And I think that there are some really positive messages when it comes to climate change. The group that I work with, we are always looking at trying to understand how ecosystems respond and in fact interact with climate. And in doing so, we're aware of a lot of these interactions, and there are a lot of positive attributes. We currently get a 50% discount on our emissions of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. How does that work? How is that functioning? Is it something that's going to grow? Is it going to get better? How do we manage that? And the only way we do is by understanding more about how the ecosystems function. And the same thing can be said, there's a lot of analogies to be said when we think about human health, when we think about the human body. The better we know about how it functions, the better we're able to manage healthcare and to be able to help ourselves out when we have problems with disease. So the same thing can be said when thinking about ecosystems and how they function and what they provide for us in that sense. But I think more importantly than thinking about the science side of things and the things that we've learned as far as climate change and climate change research is the communication piece behind it. I am really overwhelmingly thankful and very humbled by the fact that I have the privilege to be a scientist and be supported by the public and be supported by the students that I work with and be able to discover and find out these wonderful things about the world around us. And I think in a sense we need to do more to communicate that and actually to the public in ways in which it is very accessible, but also relevant and understandable. And I think those are things that need to happen more, and it is happening more. What I've actually observed over the years as being a professor in academic institutions is the communication skills, especially the oral communication skills of students. That's only getting better. And so I think these are really positive things that we need to really hang our hat on at this stage. So anyway, I just want to thank you guys. I think this is a wonderful event, and I'm hoping that actually it's just the start, and that we can continue to do this on a very regular basis. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'd now like to welcome Delia Warren, who is the director of Iron and Earth East. And happy Earth Day. It's so great to see everybody out here supporting such an important issue. Iron and Earth East, for those of you who aren't familiar, we're an organization that was started in Alberta following the oil price crash, representing oil sands workers and tradespeople that lost their jobs, that were struggling due to the precarious nature of the fossil fuel industry, and that were seeking to get involved in the renewable energy industry, recognizing the parallels between their skills that they were using in oil and gas and the skills that they could be employing in renewable energy. So Iron and Earth East is the eastern chapter. We've got a lot of the same issues happening here. A lot of people have lost their job due to the drop in oil prices and also due to the transition away from fossil fuels. So our organization basically stands as a bridge to ensure that in a transition away from fossil fuels, nobody gets left behind, to suggest policy to the government in training and transitioning our manufacturing and energy generation industries towards renewable energy. So that's basically who we are. So science is obviously very important. Our organization basically stands for coming to a solution to climate change, transitioning away from fossil fuels, and basically reducing CO2 emissions into the atmosphere. Without science, we would not have ever been able to have such prosperity. The oil industry, oil has existed for a long time, but we've been able to extract it from ever deeper, ever more challenging places because of science. Now we're in a situation where we're extremely economic dependent on fossil fuels, but our planet is suffering because of this dependence. So the only solution is to use science to come up with a solution. So we try to increase energy literacy across the country about renewable energy. A lot of the anti-science people that profess climate change isn't real are the same people that say, you know, renewable energy is not a solution. It's not a proven technology. It's not effective. The amount of misinformation surrounding renewable energy in our country and in our province is astounding. So what we aim to do is to show people these technologies have come a really long way in a very short time. The prices have dropped, and these are viable options for us. So, part of our mandate as Iron and Earth is to educate the public. We're holding speaker series events across the province and Labrador to educate people specifically about wind energy, as that's a huge opportunity for our province, but about other types of renewable energy, about conservation. So science is the answer. Science is what is going to save our planet, and I truly believe that. My partner asked me when I came here, you know, why are you going to march for science? I mean, your government supports science, you know, you've got a strong scientific community here. Trump isn't your president. But I said, you know, it wasn't that long ago that our scientists were muzzled. And when there are actions that affect climate change, the United States being one of the biggest greenhouse gas producers on the planet, they affect the entire planet. It is not just their issue, it's all of our issue. And we all need to work together in solidarity to prove that science is important. So thank you everybody for coming out today and for standing for science, because it's basically our only real hope in combating a lot of the issues that we face. Thank you very much.
Next, I would like to welcome my dear friend, Pierce Collier, who is going to be speaking on behalf of Nick Whalen, Member of Parliament for St. John's.
Well, first of all, it's an absolute pleasure to be here today. It's an absolute pleasure. I guess I'm a little taller than everyone else. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today, and it was an absolute pleasure to merge with you folks just then and stand in solidarity with all of you and everyone in the science community. Let me tell you that Mr. Whalen was very, very disappointed that he couldn't be here today. Originally he was supposed to be here, but now he is unfortunately not in the province. Something came up. But he was very disappointed because, as many of you may know, Nick and our entire office are very supportive of science and research, and we continue to work hard within government to promote and emphasize evidence-based decision-making. We believe, and our government believes, that science, specifically the continued funding and investment into science and research, are required for advances in multiple different fields. Advances across all science disciplines need the support from the federal government, because we must recognize that science and research is vitally important to all Canadians from coast to coast to coast. The science community of St. John's has no greater ally than Mr. Whalen and our government. So far, we have made significant strides to prove this. First, we've unmuzzled federal scientists. And this is something that we didn't agree with, that was brought in by the last government. Scientists need to be able to speak freely about the research. We have reinstated the long-form census so that there are actual data, statistics, and facts of which to base research. We've launched a search for a national chief science advisor because we recognize that politicians do not have all the answers. If we want to have good research, we need to have people who have expertise in the science field in order to do good work. We've invested $1 billion in research since coming to office across Canada. We've also set up, as Lauren mentioned, a brand new department, the Department of Science, that will focus specifically on the mandate relating to science matters and continue to emphasize again the need for evidence-based decision making. Locally, we've seen $681,000 committed to Memorial University for the Science Infrastructure Program. These are just a few things that are the tip of the iceberg when it comes to investments in science, and there will be more to come. In closing, Mr. Whalen and our entire office will continue to promote the importance of science and research at every avenue and every opportunity. Please know that we are in your corner, and we will always be there for the science community here in St. John's, across our province, and across our country. Thank you again for inviting us. As I said, Mr. Whalen was very disappointed he wasn't able to attend, so you got stuck with me. However, it was definitely a pleasure to be here. Please continue doing the great work that you do. Thank you so much.
Next, I'd like to welcome Danish. I'm so bad with last names. Okay. Rajaduran. She's a biology student at Memorial University, and she is also the host of the TEDx Youth 2017 conference. So I'd like to welcome you.
A very good afternoon, everyone. And when I think about the march, all I can think about is people who are passionate about their opinions and what they stand for. So today I'm going to talk about what I'm passionate about, and it's sharks. So ladies and gentlemen, when I say sharks, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Jaws? Monsters? Predators? Murderous beasts? Well, I can't really blame you, because that's how media have depicted sharks as being murderous beasts. Just look at the movies that have came out in the media recently. It's like The Shallow, Open Water, or the classic Jaws, Sharknado, another silly one. But let me get this record straight right now. Sharks are angels. They're the best thing in the planet. Literally, they have been around for millions of years and have survived through everything. And they're the keyhole for the